Ukrainian pilot destroys Russian supply dam, inflicting over $250 million in devastating losses. Today, Ukraine executed one of its most daring single aircraft operations of the war, delivering a blow valued at more than $250 million to Russia's southern logistics network. A lone MiG-29 pilot was tasked with destroying the Masin Dam, the critical artery feeding ammunition, fuel, and reinforcements into the sector. With only minutes of fuel, 3-layered air defense systems already tracking the corridor, and a single precision hammer bomb, the pilot faced a mission with almost no margin for error. The strike ultimately reshaped the battlefield. The sequence becomes clear by returning to the first confirmed moment of action. At 4:30 p.m, a Ukrainian MiG-29 raced across the Donetsk countryside at treetop level. The aircraft held a velocity near 880 km/h, low enough that its wingtips passed only meters above scattered power lines and farm roofs. The pilot maintained a white-knuckled grip on the control stick as he closed in on the Masin Dam, a hydroelectric complex that Russian forces had transformed into their most essential logistical crossing in the southern region. Hundreds of trucks moved across it daily. Ammunition, fuel, engineering gear, and mobilized personnel all flowed across that concrete spine. Planners determined that disabling the dam would force Russian convoys into a 47-kilometer diversion, a route already marked and ranged by Ukrainian artillery. The tactical objective was straightforward: cut the crossing, sever the supply line, and degrade Russian operational tempo. But every kilometer closer brought the pilot deeper into a zone saturated with Russian long-range and medium-range air defenses. S-400 batteries capable of engaging aircraft at distances near 40 kilometers were already active. A Buck M3 battery swept its tracking radar, and a Tor M2 system, the most dangerous for low-altitude aircraft, stood ready to fire from the south. Inside the cockpit, the pilot glanced at his fuel display. He had 18 minutes left. The dam was 8 minutes ahead. That left exactly 10 minutes for an attack run, evasion, and escape before his tanks ran dry. Worse, he was racing a human deadline. Russian forces routinely forced Ukrainian civilians to drive supply trucks across the dam at exactly 5 p.m. If he struck after that moment, the operation would shift from a tactical necessity to a humanitarian tragedy. The pilot maintained terrain masking altitude, keeping the MiG woven into the contours of the valley, following the narrow line of the Dnieper River. The valley provided a temporary radar shadow, hiding him from radar sweeps. Flying at 880 kilometers per hour meant covering 240 meters every second. Trees, houses, and power lines blurred into streaks of color. His movements were guided less by conscious thought and more by trained instinct. He banked left, dipped 3 meters, rose 5, and kept the MiG welded to the terrain. Moments later, his threat receiver came alive. First a soft tone, then a chorus of urgent signals. Multiple acquisition radars intermittently detected the aircraft, each attempting to refine a firing solution, locking into brief contact, losing him, and reacquiring him. His threat display illuminated with contacts from every direction except behind, an impossible escape route. The S-400 battery was uncomfortably close, and he sensed the tightening net as the valley narrowed. He calculated he had 7 minutes before the terrain flattened, exposing him directly to enemy fire. The weapon under his fuselage, a French-built hammer precision-guided bomb worth nearly $250,000, completed its automated checks. GPS alignment, inertial guidance, rocket assist motor, all green. But the bomb required altitude. It needed to be released from about 5,000 meters to ensure proper glide and terminal guidance. Staying low meant safety, but no shot. Climbing meant almost certain missile engagement. A classic tactical paradox: survive but fail, or risk everything for mission success. At 4:38 p.m, the valley abruptly ended. In 1 second, he was hidden. The next, he emerged into open terrain, visible to every enemy radar within 80 kilometers. His headset erupted with a constant alarm signal, the tone signifying full missile lock. S-400 Book M3 and Tor M2 simultaneously tracked him. The pilot immediately executed a knife-edge turn so violent that his vision dimmed under 7 Gs of pressure. His maneuver broke the radar lock, but cost him precious speed, fuel, and position. Worse, the Tor M2 system to the south activated, the most difficult threat to evade. Using command guidance controlled by a human operator, the system ignored jamming and decoys. Outrunning it was the only option. He rolled inverted and dropped to 50 meters. Trees blurred past the canopy at lethal proximity. His hands danced across the countermeasure panel, deploying chaff, flares, and activating the SPS-141 electronic warfare pod. Radar screens on Russian consoles filled with ghost echoes. The MiG multiplied into 8 false signatures. For a brief moment, confusion bought him distance. But flying that low offered no safety net. One unseen ridge or hidden cable could have ended the mission instantly. The release point was 4 kilometers ahead. He had 3 minutes. No altitude margin remained to convert into maneuvering energy. He had nothing left to hide behind. So at 4:40 p.m., he made the decision no instructor would endorse, one that would either win the war zone or end his life. Both afterburners engaged, producing the acceleration required for the high-altitude release run. The RD-33 engines roared, producing twin plumes of flame as the MiG surged upward. 50 meters became 500, then 1,000. His rate of climb exceeded 330 meters per second. Russian tracking stations immediately regained firm contact with the aircraft's radar signature. He was now the brightest target in their entire network. Inside the S-400 command vehicle, operators prepared firing sequences. They watched the aircraft ascend toward the required release height for his bomb. He was telegraphing his intent, but he had no other choice. At 3,000 meters, he added a barrel roll, twisting the trajectory into a spiral too chaotic for automated missile computers to predict. At 4,800 meters, the tone in his headset changed again. Missile launch. 2 S-400 interceptors streaked into the sky at nearly 2,000 mph. 35 seconds until impact. He reached 5,000 meters, rolled inverted, and pointed the nose of the MiG towards the ground. Through the HUD, he saw the target. A thin grey line across the river, the Masin Dam. One strike would cripple Russian logistics for months. Only 2 seconds remained before the intercept window closed. He released the hammer bomb. The MiG jolted upward, freed of its weight. The bomb fell briefly, then ignited its rocket motor and began climbing again before tipping forward into its final dive. Its infrared seeker activated, locking onto the temperature contrast between sun-heated concrete and cool river water. It adjusted its course by a fraction and committed. A Ukrainian drone operator situated 4.8 kilometers away recorded the impact sequence. The hammer munition impacted at approximately 340 meters per second. The kinetic force alone inflicted catastrophic structural damage even before the explosive detonated. Then 89 kilograms of high-energy explosive ignited in a microsecond, producing a shockwave near 300,000 psi. The impact side of the dam vaporized. Internal pressure raced through the structure at 5,000 mph, tearing the opposite face apart before the near surface finished crumbling. A breach measuring approximately 60 meters formed within seconds of impact. Water pressure expanded it further within minutes. Russian logistics lost their primary crossing. Months of supply planning were invalidated in a matter of minutes. Analysts later estimated that the destruction of equipment, materials, construction assets, and forced rerouting inflicted more than $250 million in operational losses. Command confirmed the strike and issued instructions for the aircraft to return immediately. His fuel read 1,650 kilograms, enough for an 18-minute flight home. He landed with 2 minutes of reserve, taxied to a halt, and powered down. Ground crews found stress fractures along the left wing. The aircraft had been pushed beyond its design limits, but the mission had succeeded. The Masin crossing was gone. Russian convoys were forced into range of Ukrainian artillery. Moscow's planners scrambled to reconfigure supply routes, while Ukrainian forces exploited the logistical shock. The pilot disembarked from the aircraft physically exhausted but unharmed. Today, Ukraine not only severed a strategic artery, but imposed more than $250 million in losses while forcing Russia into reactive logistics chaos. The question now is simple. How will Moscow adapt to yet another sudden collapse in its supply chain? Share your thoughts with us, and don't forget to subscribe.